Alright guys, Tactical over here, and boy did we get an announcement last night. Nadeshot and 100 Thieves have officially returned to the Call of Duty World League, bringing in two new players. That's Kenny and Fero, formerly of Team Kaliber of course. And let's have a look whether these two guys were the right pickups, what it leaves for TK, and who else could potentially be joining the 100 Thieves lineup to round out the team. So, first of all, let's start with Kenny. For my money, he was the MVP of the World War II season. He elevated Team Kaliber just to that new level. I don't think they'd have done anywhere near as well without him in that aggressive SMG role. An aggressive SMG is probably the most important component, arguably, of a team. And for that reason, there's barely any that put up great stats. It's pretty easy to find a very competent main assault rifle, but to find truly special SMG players takes some doing. That's why Scump has been revered so highly for all these years, because he can put up insane numbers with an SMG. Kenny really took over the mantle, I think, as just the best SMG we have in Call of Duty on his performance this year. So, for my money, he was the MVP of the whole season. These are the stats so far from Call of Duty Gamepedia's MVP awards of the year or whatever. And so, after 1,300 responses, Kenny's dominating it amongst the community votes. So, 1.07 respawn KD, as JP says here, during World War II, Kenny has the highest respawn KD for a player in the top 5 respawn engagements per 10 minutes. This is a key factor. If you look at the SMGs on this list, you have Shocks 1.08, Huke, Kenny, Scraps and Scump. They're all kind of around Kenny's level. But when you take into account the respawn Slayer, Kenny manages to come up in the top 5. So he's giving you the best of both worlds. He's not only giving you insane aggression, he's also giving you the KD to match, which is very rare to see in an SMG. So, another factor we've got to consider is great search and destroy play. 1.10 KD in search and destroy is very respectable, but it's not just his S&D, it's also his clutch factor in respawn game modes as well. How many times this year have we seen when TK has got a close game, it's 200 to 200, coming down to the wire, Kenny goes on like an 8 streak and wins them the game. Happens so often this year. Also, of course, the famous 4-piece to win the game against Echo Fox on Gibraltar, where he breaks in with 4 kills to win the game 250-247. So an incredible clutch factor, and the fact that he's so young as well, with the potential for veterans to join this 100 Thieves lineup to give these guys some more guidance. He could be one of the best players we've ever seen in Call of Duty, and he's already showing great glimpses of it. The fact that he can compete for like a few months in Advanced Warfare, take a few years out, and then come back as the best player in the game almost undoubtedly over the whole of the season in World War II is truly something special, and definitely the hottest prospect, or not really a prospect anymore, but the hottest talent on the market was Kenny, and 100 Thieves lapped that up no problem, and I think Nadeshot's done a great job there. I honestly think Kenny and Fero are probably the best duo that he could have possibly picked up, given the nature of the young talent they possess. Let's move on to Fero. His first year in respawn play goes in the Era Eternity lineup. There's clips of him misusing streaks, all this sort of stuff, but he learns and he improves very quickly. And in Stage 2 playoffs with Team Kaliber, I think he was their best player. I would have given Fero the MVP of that event, but Kenny got the MVP because of the whole of Stage 2, and he hadn't won one already because earlier in the year the awards went to Chino and Accuracy at Dallas and Nola, I believe. Search and destroy. This is Fero's key attribute that he brings to a team. He's always been a search and destroy star, and he's getting up to this level in respawn as well. Fero, number 1 S&D kills per round, 0.86. Number 2 first blood percentage, 20%. Number 6 S&D KD, 1.18. Just a phenomenal talent in search and destroy. Here's his 1.18 on the board. And that's what Fero mainly brings to a team. Not only is respawn, but he can do it with every gun. He can do it with an SMG, he can do it with an AR, but importantly, he has that sniping talent in search and destroy, which really elevates his S&D to another level. His team can rely on him to competently get those first bloods, and obviously he's very experienced in search and destroy as well, and Nadeshot knows better than anyone. He's search and destroy wins championships. I think that was his quote. He knows having a great S&D lineup is so important to producing like a dominant roster, and with these two pickups, he ticks all the boxes for me. So, Team Kaliber, where does it leave them? Now, Enable tweeted this out. He's no longer on Team Kaliber anymore, and Accuracy, although he hasn't tweeted anything, He's got nothing about TK in his bio, even though TK is up here. And there are some rumours that that he will be going to Ghost Gaming. So I think that TK are going to lose all of their roster. It was pretty sad for TK fans, but they did have a phenomenal year, all things considered. And, you know, that's the nature of the org that TK are. They don't really have the money and the backing to keep a team like this. The team got too good for the organisation, put it that way. So I wonder who they'll go and pick up. There's nothing confirmed as of yet. Maybe he'll end up going back to like Gujar, Nesle, those sort of guys. But, you know, I feel sorry for TK fans. But at the same time, they've been on the fringes for so long that finally to come back and win 3 events in a year, Dallas NOLA Stage 2 playoffs, that was just better than they could have ever expected, I guess. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them go on to support Kenny and Fero at 100 Thieves. So, who else could possibly be joining this lineup? Now, we're not sure yet whether it's going to be 4v4 or 5v5. So getting a concrete 4-man lineup seems a little bit iffy. I think it would make more sense to get a core 3 that then you could build around. Because if you have a core 4 and then it's like, oh, it's 5v5, we have to add someone, maybe your core 4 isn't really in a good position to add a new player. And also the meta of the game isn't yet established, whether people are using SMGs or ARs. That's why Fero also is such a good pick, because he can use any gun if it's required, as we've seen on his Team Kaliber performances this year. Nature understands that if he wants to have a team that competes with the likes of Optic Gaming and can actually match their fan base, which I'm sure is what he's aiming to do, he needs to get one of these superstar, or not necessarily superstar, but one of these huge name players with big backing. The first one that comes to mind is Karma. Karma, a lot of Optic fans were very displeased with how he ended up being dropped from the team, including, I think, Karma himself to some extent, some of the things he said. I don't think Karma will end up back on the Optic Gaming squad, but, you know, maybe he will. Nature has an ideal opportunity to get Karma on the team, and it would cause an incredible potential for storylines. There's a lot of Optic fans who secretly, or not secretly, but they're Karma fans first and foremost. And I think when Formal went to Luminosity, it didn't really take many of the fans away, because not many people were purely Formal fans. A lot of people are purely Karma fans. If he goes to 100 Thieves, I can guarantee you a lot of people are going to be supporting them, and him in particular, to get the revenge, as it were, on Optic Gaming. Nature has this fantastic opportunity. If he secures Karma, he guarantees so many fans coming in. I think that's got to be his number one goal. Yes, you can make a great team, but it's about doing more than that. He could get someone like Slasher, say, who apparently is eager to go to 100 Thieves, but would you have the superstar aura around this player? Like, how many fans does Slasher really have? Quite a few, but is it like Karma? You know, nowhere near. Only Karma, Scump, and maybe Crim have the fan base that would elevate 100 Thieves to the same level as Optic, or at least attempt to. And I think Scump doesn't really fit in to the Kenny and Fero duo. Unless it goes 5v5, maybe it's possible. And Crim6 maybe would fit, but I think he's honestly more likely to stay with Scump and remain on Optic. That's at least my feeling. But I think Karma would be Nadeshot's best bet. If Karma went to this team, it would be mental. He said earlier that he wants to be the main AR of a squad. So be Karma as main AR. Kenny would be your aggressive sub. Fero might be your secondary sub. And then you'd need another player. Now, a lot of people are talking about Dashi. We look at these stats, when we looked at these earlier on CoD stats here, Dashi is top in the tables. He hasn't played as many matches as these other teams, I admit, but a 1.2 KD, 1.27 in search, the fact that he manages to top the Respawn Slayer categories as well, a lot of people might say, okay, Dashi's a main AR. How is he going to fit in with Karma if Karma's also the main AR? But Dashi could definitely do it with any weapon. The playstyle Dashi plays is very similar to how Slasher plays. He's not sitting in the hill on a head glitch in order to get his kills. He runs around with the assault rifle and still outguns people from any range with basically any weapon, it seems. So he wouldn't need an AR to succeed in that playstyle, I don't think. So Dashi could do quite well, I'm sure, as like a flex player. Maybe Karma, Dashi, Fero, and Kenny would be your team. God, that would be so scary, wouldn't it? Imagine the search and destroy of that squad. It would be fearsome to say the least. Now, I didn't really touch on this, but enable and accuracy, some people might say they're going to 100 Thieves, but I feel like it would have been announced already if they were. And as I say, I'm sure Nature understands he needs to have a player with these big fan bases. And with only potentially 2 spots left on the team, you want to ensure that it's locked up by someone who's really going to gain some notoriety to your squad. Now, one last option is, actually, before we finish on Karma, this is something I saw on Twitter today. Coincidence, Nadeshot tweets this in his tweet, about to be on another level. Kind of an interesting turn of phrase, and Damon has his location set as on another level. So, maybe it's a clue that Karma could potentially be going to 100 Thieves. Another option is gunless and formal. This is another hugely scary possibility. Now, not only it would bring some formal fans and maybe gunless fans as well, but it would also bring a huge amount of talent to the squad. Gunless and formal apparently want to play as a duo, which would leave that formal as the main assault rifle, gunless as like the flex, Fero, and then Kenny. It's a crazy team. Possibility to happen also, as far as I've heard. But I think from Nadeshot's perspective, if I was Nadeshot, I'd be doing everything to get Karma on my team. I'm not going to lie. Get Karma on your team in a comfortable role, and the fact that he's picked up Fero and Kenny as SMGs leaves the option for Karma to be main AR as he wanted, and then work around that. So, that's all I have to say for now. I can't really say too much more because I don't have the intel. But let me know what you guys think, if this is a good pickup for Nadeshot, where they should go with this direction. Do you reckon they can compete with Optic Gaming's fan base? Only time will tell. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.